These are all my Demon Slayer what-if scenarios in one video. So you guys can just chill or go to sleep. What if Tanjiro had the solo leveling power system? You guys requested this from my post, so make sure to check out my post if you want to pick what videos I do next. So let's get right into this. Now I know Tanjiro, so what we're going to do here is only have the system for Tanjiro. In solo leveling, Jinwoo got the system by basically dying, and the system asked him if he wanted to survive, and then revived him with that weird statue demon thing. Demon Slayer doesn't have that exact statue demon, but let's just say this time Tanjiro gets it through like God or something. So let's say when Tanjiro was about to go sell coal, he doesn't. Maybe he gets hurt, or he's really sick, and Muzan shows up, injects a bunch of blood, and kills most of the Kamado family. Tanjiro is on the brink of death, and the system box pops up. Do you want to live? And obviously, he hits yes, because he wants to save Nezuko. Then he wakes up in his house, and he's perfectly fine. His limbs are okay, everything looks normal, and he saved his sister. Then Giyu meets him, and fights him like normal, and then sends him to Urokodaki's place to learn water breathing. So at Urokodaki's place, Tanjiro starts asking questions about why he can see some weird screen. Just like how Jinwoo was confused at the start, Tanjiro is messing with the screens. He's thinking like, I don't need to do these quests, because he's already doing training anyway with the sword. But the system has its own expectations. His daily quests are 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, 10-kilometer run, which is 6.2 miles. Tanjiro might be able to do half of that because his focus is sword training. Maybe he completes the run because he runs up and down the mountain training. But 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, he's probably not matching the exact numbers yet, and he probably thinks nothing of it until he gets teleported into that penalty zone. This is that creepy place with those snake bug-looking monsters chasing him. In the Demon Slayer verse, Demon Slayers are already crazy fast, so I think he could outrun them, but it would drain him, and he randomly disappears from Urokodaki's place. So Tanjiro tries to keep that secret, saying he was using the bathroom or something. Now he's scared to skip the quests again. So after that, Tanjiro starts doing both his water breathing training and the daily quests. He now actually does 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and the 6.2 mile run every day. So he's leveling up while doing that training. But Tanjiro doesn't truly level up heavy until final selection, because in solo leveling, Jinwoo leveled up the most by killing tons of goblins in that dungeon, and in Demon Slayer Final Selection, Tanjiro kills a bunch of demons, and his big boss is the Hand Demon. That would basically act like his dungeon boss fight, and that is where Tanjiro would get most of his first big level ups in this version. So, in Final Selection, he starts cutting down a bunch of demons, and he realizes he gets XP and extra potions and stuff. He really doesn't know what most of them do at first unless he reads them, and he doesn't get anything really crazy or new yet. He wants to keep his sword, because all the system gives him is different types of weapons, and they are low-level weapons too. He doesn't know if those are real Nichiren blades or not, so he doesn't take any, but he does use the potions to heal up. So instead of just surviving Final Selection, he is actually hunting down every single demon to get more XP. Then he meets the Hand Demon, and he cuts him down way faster than in the original timeline, since he is all healthy from the potions, and he is constantly leveling up, getting even stronger. And by the end of Final Selection, he's level 15, just like solo leveling when Jinwoo finished his first dungeon. So level 15, Tanjiro goes around killing demons and getting more XP, testing out new weapons like daggers and stuff just like Jinwoo did, but he mainly sticks with the normal katana. I don't think he would dual wield or use daggers, but maybe later he gets an upgraded katana. Tanjiro is going around killing demons. He kills the swamp demon, he kills the drum demon, and most of the demons he normally fights in the story. He eventually meets Inosuke and Zenitsu along the way. He's about level 35 by the time they reach Rui's mountain. Zenitsu still stays back because he's scared, and Tanjiro and Inosuke run up the hill, killing a bunch of demons, helping the other demon slayers out. He's leveling up more and more. He kills the mother demon, that levels him up. He kills the dad demon, that levels him up to around level 44 or 45. Then he faces Rui with Nezuko getting hurt and all that. Now, he's way stronger than in the original timeline, and he has health potions, so he can constantly keep going. And when his sword gets broken by Rui, he pulls out another Nichiren blade from his inventory just in case, and finishes Rui off. And then he unlocks what I think is the most broken ability. I'm super excited about this part. He now unlocks Shadow Extraction. After he defeats Rui, he reads the screen, and just like Jinwoo did to the knight in Solo Leveling Season 1, he says, "Arise." He says it again, because Rui was weaker than that knight. Rui finally rises on the second, "Arise." Now he can store shadows, and he unlocks the whole Shadow Extraction technique. Giyu and Shinobu show up. Shinobu handles that other demon, while Giyu sees what's going on. Then the Hashira meeting begins. They ask why he's traveling with a demon again. The same thing with Sanemi happens, but Tanjiro fights back even more now since he's leveled up and way stronger than the original timeline, and now he knows sun breathing just a little bit. They all accept Nezuko because of Giyu and Urokodaki vouching for her, and now the Mugen train begins. After healing up, Tanjiro wants to know more about sun breathing, so he thinks Rengoku might know something about it, so he boards the Mugen train. They all fall asleep like normal. He already told Zenitsu and Inosuke about his abilities, so they know he can still use shadows. He takes down Lower Moon One with Inosuke, while Rengoku, Nezuko, and Zenitsu are protecting the train. Tanjiro then uses a rise on Lower Moon One and it works, but he only rises his normal demon body, not the whole train. Then Upper Moon 3 shows up. When Akaza shows up, Tanjiro doesn't get stabbed this time because he can just heal with his potions. So he jumps into the fight with Rengoku instantly since he's basically healed already. And plus, Rengoku heals up too from Tanjiro helping him. Tanjiro is probably around level 50 at this point, so he's obviously super strong, way stronger than the original timeline version, so he actually gives Rengoku real backup this time. And on top of that, he throws out Rui and Enmu to help them in this fight too. So now Akaza is dealing with Rui's pressure, Enmu's dream traps, plus 2 Hashira level fighters. This fight is way harder for him. Akaza starts getting pushed back all the way until the sun is about to rise. But Tanjiro still doesn't have the selfless state yet. So Akaza can just sense his battle intent and predict his swings, and he makes sure no one is behind him. So Akaza still escapes, but Tanjiro gets Enmu as a new Shadow Soldier. Now this is a brand new ability in the Demon Slayer cores. When Rengoku, Tanjiro, Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Nezuko get back to headquarters, everyone is weirded out by it, and they start doing research on this ability. Also, Sanemi and Tanjiro probably get way better in this timeline, because Sanemi maybe actually apologizes to Tanjiro about his sister and everything, and Tanjiro uses his shadows to train, because now he has basically 2 lower moons to spar against, so he can get to Hashira level way faster. So he's probably like level 55 by the time the Entertainment District arc starts. I'm going to skip most of the dialogue. They dress up as women, they look for Upper Moon 6 Daki, and they finally locate her. Now everything begins when Tanjiro versus Daki starts. His eyes go red again, and he goes crazy fast, while Tengen, Inosuke, and Zenitsu are fighting the belt half of Daki. And before this arc started, Tanjiro already went on some missions, so he actually has like 2 or 3 extra demons he can throw out now. But Rui and Enmu are still his main heavy hitters. So when the fight begins, Tanjiro rises some demons to distract Daki. He uses Rui's threads to counter her belts. Thread versus belt. And it actually works. This forces Daki to go full power way sooner. Tanjiro keeps Enmu by him, while Rui fights with 3 other demons to hold Daki back. Daki still has the upper hand since she's an upper moon, but because Rui has 3 extra demons backing him, they're actually keeping up. So Tanjiro finally finds an opening and cuts off Daki's head from behind with sun breathing, which triggers Gyutaro to pop out way earlier than the original timeline. Now both siblings are active at the same time, so Tanjiro uses Enmu's dream traps to stall Gyutaro, while Rui and the other demons stall Daki. Nezuko never gets out of her box in this version, because Tanjiro already had the situation handled. When Tengen arrives, instead of the whole Nezuko moment, he's shocked at this new shadow ability Tanjiro has. Then with Tengen, Inosuke, Zenitsu, plus Rui, Enmu, and the shadows, they basically just jump them. They defeat Gyutaro and Daki way easier in this timeline. Tanjiro then uses Arise on both of them. He gets Daki and Gyutaro as shadows. That is an insane upgrade, because those are upper moons. Nezuko heals everyone from the poison, and since Tengen never loses his arm in this timeline, he probably doesn't retire. Tanjiro doesn't go into a coma either, since he barely got damaged. So instead of 3 months in a hospital bed, he spends 3 months doing missions and training. He gets like 20 more demons added to his shadow army. Now we go to the Swordsmith Village Arc. Tanjiro goes because he wants more Nichiren blades to store in his inventory. I'm skipping dialogue. He meets Mitsuri, Muichiro, and Genya. When Muichiro clamps his nose, Tanjiro secretly puts a shadow inside Muichiro, just like how Jinwoo did with S ranks during the Ant Arc. At this point, Tanjiro is stronger than every Hashira because he uses sun breathing and shadows. Upper Moon 4 shows up and splits into the emotion clones. Muichiro still gets blasted away, so Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya fight all the clones. Tanjiro summons Rui, Enmu, and then Daki and Gyutaro, because those are his strongest shadows now. Daki distracts clones with her belts, and Gyutaro supports with poison attacks, while Rui and the other demons block hits. While all the shadows are fighting clones, Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya rush the main body much earlier, so the emotions combine sooner into the big emotion clone. Mitsuri comes back to the village fight, but because Tanjiro's shadows are helping, Mitsuri barely gets hurt, so she never even has to unlock her Demon Slayer mark. Muichiro meanwhile still fights Upper Moon 5 and wins the same way. He unlocks his mark, kills Gyoko, grabs the new Nichirin blade, and throws it to Tanjiro. Tanjiro catches the blade, rushes back, and kills Upper Moon 4 easy. Nezuko still becomes immune to sunlight. Tanjiro arises Upper Moon 4, which now gives him all 4 emotion clones as shadows. Upper Moon 5's body is gone, so he cannot arise him. Now Muzan is pissed, because not only does Nezuko survive the sun, now Tanjiro is stealing his Upper Moons. But now we move into the Hashira Training Arc. And so Tanjiro obviously has his Demon Slayer mark, so after the Swordsmith Village he doesn't need healed up, because he was basically protected the whole time, and he also has health potions he can give everybody. But anyway, they still try to regulate the Demon Slayer marks, and Mitsuri does not unlock the Demon Slayer mark, so only Muichiro and Tanjiro have their marks in this timeline. So the Hashira Training Arc basically goes the same, but this time, Tanjiro has Shadow Demons, and I think he would give the Hashira Upper Moon 6, Upper Moon 4, all the lower moons, and even small demons he has stored, so the whole Demon Slayer Corps can train with actual Upper Moon demons. So they are way more experienced and way more stronger in this timeline because of Tanjiro's Shadow Demons. So when Tanjiro is training with all the Hashira, he also puts some lower moon demons inside the Hashira just in case, so he can teleport to them. Just like Jinwoo, he has the teleport ability where he can switch places with his shadows at any time. Everything still happens the same after that. The Ubuyashiki family leader dies when Muzan blows him up, and everything from that point happens exactly the same. Tamayo injects the poison into Muzan, and then everyone gets dropped into the Infinity Castle. But things are different now. So now let's go over the matchups. Tanjiro versus Upper Moon, 3 Akaza, Tanjiro solo, Jiyu, Shinobu, Kanao, and Inosuke together, Genya, Muichiro, Sanemi, and Gyomei. Same as original side battles like Zenitsu versus Kaigaku, Nakime versus Mitsuri, Obanai, and Yushiro. Now let's go over Tanjiro's fight versus Akaza first. Tanjiro brings out Daki and Gyutaro to hold off Upper Moon 3. Their regeneration and respawn is insane because Tanjiro can just re-summon them. Tanjiro finally unlocks his selfless state and transparent world, and that gives him enough time to cut off Akaza's head and defeat Akaza like the original timeline. So Tanjiro uses the transparent world and cuts off Akaza's head. So that's how Akaza versus Tanjiro goes. And after that, Tanjiro looks through his shadows to check on the other fights. He pops shadows out to see Shinobu and Gyu's fight, and their fight is doing pretty okay. Shinobu is getting a little hurt, but since basically 3 Hashira level fighters are there, Kanao and Inosuke together basically count as 1 Hashira, and Gyu and Shinobu are 2 Hashira. And Shinobu already said that you need about 3 Hashira to even beat Doma. Tanjiro sees they are doing good enough. He sends shadows to help them a little bit, just to make sure none of them die. But on the other hand, the Upper Moon 1 fight is going really bad. Muichiro is pinned against a pole with a sword in his chest, and Genya is about to die, while Sanemi and Gyomei are fighting Kokushibo. Tanjiro teleports there, using his shadow switching ability. He pulls Muichiro down and tells him to rest, gives him a full high-level potion to heal everything, then gives Genya another potion to save him too. Then Tanjiro jumps into the Upper Moon 1 fight along with Gyomei and Sanemi. Oh yeah, I forgot. Tanjiro also arises Akaza after the fight, so now Akaza is fighting for him. And Tanjiro already arised Upper Moon 4 with all the emotion clones earlier. So now he brings all of them, Akaza, Upper Moon 4 clones, Gyutaro, and Daki, and they all help overwhelm Kokushibo. They cut off his head, and Kokushibo dies with his flashback like normal. Then Tanjiro teleports to the Doma fight. Shinobu is almost dead. She's totally spent, but Tanjiro shows up and heals her up with his potions. With Tanjiro plus Akaza, plus Upper Moon 4 plus Gyutaro plus Daki, they jump Doma and make sure he is 100% dead. Everything else plays out the same. Tanjiro knows Zenitsu wanted to fight Kaigaku alone, so he lets Zenitsu fight him alone, and Zenitsu kills Kaigaku with 7th form. And Nakime versus Mitsuri, Obanai, and Yushiro also happens basically the same. Now Muzan knows he is getting backed into a corner. Tanjiro literally just arised Doma and Upper Moon 1 Kokushibo, so Muzan is in trouble. But Muzan's arrogance still shows. He thinks none of them can touch him anyway, so he kills Nakimi, the Biwa woman, because she was being controlled by Yushiro. And then Yushiro uses his control to flick the castle apart and get all the demon slayers out of the Infinity Castle, which leads into the Sunrise Countdown arc. So Tanjiro, instead of being down and out, he just regens instantly, or he just uses one of his potions. And this final fight is going to be crazy, because when Muzan pulls up and all the Hashira rush him like in the original, Tanjiro stops them. Tanjiro puts Akaza, Doma, and Upper Moon 1 Kokushibo directly against Muzan, while he uses Enmu, Rui, Upper Moon 4, with all the emotion clones, plus Daki and Gyutaro, to protect the Hashira and make sure the Hashira barely even have to fight. Tanjiro wants to make sure none of the Hashira die in this version, so while Muzan is slowing down because of Tamayo's poison, Upper Moon 1, Doma, and Akaza basically jump Muzan and drag him towards sunrise. And that makes Muzan die way faster. Tanjiro never becomes Demon King. Now for after the battle. I think Tanjiro would disband all the shadow demons he has, because the mission is done. They can move on to hell, or heaven, or wherever they go. The war is over. Gyomei doesn't have the Demon Slayer mark, so he doesn't die. Only Muichiro and Tanjiro had marks. And I think Tanjiro would use the system to heal the Demon Slayer mark like a stat curse, and give Muichiro a potion to cure it too. So the future is way happier. Kanao and Tanjiro get together, get married, and have kids. Shinobu and Gyu get together, so Shinobu's bloodline doesn't die off. Muichiro's bloodline lives on too. Gyomei lives a long, peaceful life. Sanemi lives. Mitsuri and Obanai also get a happy ending and get married. Most of the Hashira get a good life in this version, and this took me a long time to make. So if you guys want early access to my videos, my membership is down below, only if you guys want it. What if Tanjiro had Ultra Instinct? So you guys voted for this in my newest post, so make sure to go check it out if you want to pick the next video. And real quick, sorry I couldn't finish the what if all the Hashira were good demons timeline. That one changed the story way too much, and I had to basically rebuild the whole series from scratch, kind of like what I did with the solo leveling one, so go watch that video right now if you want a big timeline. But anyway, let's get into this. Some people might think Ultra Instinct is just another version of the selfless state, but it's really not. The selfless state mainly masks your presence and puts you in a calmer mindset, like a flow state that real athletes get. It doesn't give you real automatic dodging. Ultra Instinct, on the other hand, is crazy heightened reflexes. Anything coming at you, from behind, the side, above, your body just moves by itself and dodges it. No thinking. Pure instinct. I'm not giving Tanjiro Ki blasts or Dragon Ball power levels, since this is Demon Slayer, so he's only getting the basic Ultra Instinct stuff. The auto dodge, the heightened reactions, and that calm, focused state. This actually makes for a really cool timeline, because Tanjiro could fight Upper Moons just off pure dodging, but I'm going to give it to him at the start of the story. Let's go right into it. Tanjiro goes out to sell coal. When he tries to head back home, the old man stops him and tells him demons roam at night, so Tanjiro stays over. He comes back in the morning, sees his whole family dead, except Nezuko, who turned into a demon. He grabs her and tries to get help. Then Gyu shows up, fights him, and tells him to go train with Urokodaki, the former water Hashira. Everything happens the same at first, but everything changes during training. Tanjiro unlocks Ultra Instinct because of the trauma of seeing his whole family dead. It pushes him into this automatic state, the same way Goku unlocked it under extreme pressure. So while he's sparring with Urokodaki, it's super weird because Tanjiro can dodge everything Urokodaki throws at him. Every slash, every attack, every move. Tanjiro slips around it like nothing. He can give blows back, but they aren't strong enough yet to actually overwhelm Urokodaki. But still, Urokodaki can't land a hit. Not one. So now Tanjiro is considered a straight-up prodigy, a genius in Urokodaki's eyes. And this is where the story changes. Before the boulder training, Urokodaki originally didn't even trust Tanjiro enough to send him to final selection. But in this timeline, bro, Tanjiro doesn't even need to cut the boulder. Urokodaki knows he can dodge anything those demons throw at him, so he allows Tanjiro to go to final selection early, because with Ultra Instinct, Tanjiro can avoid every single hit sent his way, and now he enters final selection. So, when Tanjiro faces all the demons in final selection, he really only needs to work on his attack power, not his defense, because his defense is basically automatic now. He just dodges everything without even thinking. Most of the demons can't even touch him. Tanjiro slices through a bunch of them, while barely breaking a sweat. When it comes to the hand demon, it's the same thing. The hand demon tries to smash him, grab him, throw rocks, but Tanjiro's Ultra Instinct just reacts instantly. He slips through every attack like water. The only problem Tanjiro has is actually cutting the demon's neck, because the hand demon is super durable, and Tanjiro's strikes aren't crazy strong yet, so he has to try a couple of times to get the angle right, but either way, he still slices off the head and finishes the job. Now final selection is done. After that, Tanjiro heads out on his journey. Just like in the original timeline, he defeats the Swamp Demon with insane dodging, fights Kyogai the Drum Demon without taking a single hit, meets Zenitsu and Inosuke, and goes through all those early missions. But the big change is coming, Rui's fight. When they reach Rui's mountain, Zenitsu is obviously staying back because he's scared, and Tanjiro and Inosuke rush up the mountain like usual. They help out all the other demon slayers, clear the weaker demons, and defeat the mom demon just like normal. But things change a lot when it comes to the dad demon. Tanjiro dodges every single swing the dad demon throws. Inosuke is attacking from the side, while Tanjiro keeps the dad demon busy, slipping through every attack like nothing. When Tanjiro tries to slice off the dad demon's head, it's way easier than the original timeline because he can actually get the opening, but his attack power still isn't strong enough to one-shot him, so they still have to work together to beat the dad demon. After that, Tanjiro finds his way to Rui, right when Rui's torturing Nezuko. Rui instantly gets frustrated because none of his threads can even touch Tanjiro. Tanjiro is dodging everything, the cutting threads, the webs, all of it. And when Tanjiro tries to cut Rui's head off with water breathing, it still doesn't work because Rui keeps pulling the same cheap trick, connecting his fake neck with threads and pretending to be decapitated. So Tanjiro does the same thing as the original timeline, but way cleaner. With Nezuko activating her blood demon art, Tanjiro unlocks sun breathing, and this time he cuts off Rui's head instantly. His sword is in perfect condition, Tanjiro's body is untouched, and the form comes out clean because he's not half dead like before. Now, I want to explain a quick thing about Ultra Instinct. Goku has his base Ultra Instinct, not the silver hair one, where he's in his normal form, but his instincts are active. He glows a tiny bit, but he's not fully powered. That's exactly what Tanjiro has right now. He has the dodging instincts, the auto reaction, and the flow state, but he can still awaken full Ultra Instinct later for a massive boost in power. Now after Rui's fight, a lot of people would say Tanjiro should instantly become a Hashira because he defeated a lower moon demon. But Tanjiro's obviously too nice, he doesn't think he deserves it, and the Hashira don't think he's ready yet. Then we get the Hashira meeting. They start freaking out over Nezuko being a demon, and the whole Sanemi situation is completely different. Sanemi can't even touch Tanjiro. When they fight, Tanjiro is just tagging him over and over, while Sanemi literally cannot land a finger on him. Because of Ultra Instinct, Sanemi ends up getting folded simply because he can't hit him even once. After all that, Nezuko's case gets settled because of Giyu and Urokodaki vouching for her, and the Ubuyashiki family already knows about Tamayo, so they accept her. They recover at Shinobu's mansion, and then Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke head out with Rengoku for the Mugen train arc, starting the next big part of the story. So when Inosuke, Zenitsu, Tanjiro, and Nezuko board the Mugen train, everything basically starts off the same as the original timeline. They all fall asleep from Enmu's dream trap, and they all wake up thanks to Nezuko and Tanjiro figuring out how to break out of the dream world. After that, Rengoku tells Tanjiro and Inosuke to go kill Lower Moon 1, Enmu, while he protects the passengers with Nezuko and Zenitsu. But this time, with Ultra Instinct, Tanjiro dodges almost everything Enmu throws at him. The tentacles still force him to break the dream, the same way because it's not a physical attack, but once he wakes up fully, he dodges every single hit and slices up Enmu with Inosuke way easier than in the original story. When the train derails, Tanjiro does not get stabbed. He just dodges the whole thing. Then, Upper Moon 3 Akaza shows up. Akaza goes straight for Rengoku, just like always, but Tanjiro can dodge him instantly. Tanjiro jumps in to help Rengoku, not matching his skill or strength, but acting as a perfect decoy because Akaza can't touch him at all. And with Ultra Instinct, Tanjiro has basically no killing intent. He's literally in a flow state, which makes him harder to sense. Then it happens. Tanjiro sees Rengoku getting hurt badly, and that emotional push unlocks full power Ultra Instinct for the first time ever. It mixes with his selfless state, giving him boosted strength, boosted speed, and perfect dodging. With that power-up, Tanjiro kills Akaza right there, saving Rengoku and completely changing the timeline. After the Mugen train, Tanjiro still doesn't become a Hashira. Even though he's insanely strong defensively, Tanjiro still needs way more offensive power and way more real fight experience to qualify. Since he barely gets hit in fights now, he hasn't built the same attack strength he had in the original. He trains all the way up to the Entertainment District arc now. When he meets Tengen, Tanjiro volunteers Inosuke and Zenitsu instead of the girls, so all three of them dress up and infiltrate the district. Like in the original timeline, they find Daki, and things go way different. While Tengen, Zenitsu, and Inosuke fight the Belt Demon, Tanjiro versus Daki begins, and Daki cannot lay a single thread, belt, or finger on Tanjiro. He's saving way more people, because he can dodge literally everything while moving them out of the way. He still can't activate full power Ultra Instinct on command, but even his base form is enough to get right up to Daki and slice her head off with sun breathing that triggers Gyutaro showing up early. And here's where Ultra Instinct actually starts to struggle. Gyutaro's blood sickles are insanely fast and full of poison, so Tanjiro starts getting grazed. Not full hits, but little cuts. And those cuts are enough to tell Tanjiro he needs to step it up. So Tanjiro activates full Ultra Instinct again and awakens his Demon Slayer mark at the same time. Now Gyutaro straight up can't touch him. Tengen, Zenitsu, and Inosuke rush in, and with Tanjiro basically untouchable, the fight becomes way more in their favor. Now with Tanjiro's boosted strength, boosted speed, and boosted everything, he starts kind of pushing back Gyutaro, but not by that much. But when Tengen comes in, that's when it really starts to shift. Gyutaro keeps trying to hit Tanjiro, but Tanjiro is dodging everything and landing a bunch of blows on him. Tanjiro's still not strong enough to really match Gyutaro's pure attack power, but he's up there actually fighting with him. Meanwhile, Zenitsu and Inosuke are doing the same thing they did in the original timeline with Daki. In this timeline, Tengen does not get his hand cut off. Everything else happens the same. The buildings still collapse. Zenitsu and Inosuke still get their really bad injuries, with Inosuke getting cut through the whole body with Gyutaro's sickle, and Zenitsu still trapped under the rubble. But Tengen and Tanjiro are not under the rubble this time. They're still fighting Gyutaro. Zenitsu and Inosuke get out and kill Daki like usual, while Tanjiro, with his Demon Slayer mark and full Ultra Instinct active, teams up with Tengen and finishes Gyutaro off just like the original timeline. Tanjiro doesn't get hurt, so he doesn't need Nezuko to heal him from the poison, but Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Tengen still need help, so Nezuko burns away the poison and heals them up. After that, instead of Tanjiro being in a 3-month coma like the original timeline, he actually uses that entire time to train. He works on his attack power, asks Zenitsu and the Hashira how he can improve it, and he gets way better. His raw attack strength improves insanely because he starts practicing sun breathing a lot during those 3 months. Now Tanjiro's sword is still chipped from fighting Gyutaro, so he needs a new one. That sends him straight to the Swordsmith Village, which starts the Swordsmith Village Arc. So let's skip most of the dialogue and just go over it quickly. Tanjiro meets Mitsuri in the hot spring. He meets Genya there too. He meets Muichiro fighting the training doll. He does the doll training. All of that. He wants his sword rebuilt. Everything the same. So I'm skipping straight to the part where Muichiro, the Mist Hashira, comes in and pinches Tanjiro's nose. They talk for a little bit until Upper Moon 4 shows up and the battle starts. Real quick guys, let me explain. Ultra Instinct a little better. Ultra Instinct is basically muscle memory fighting for you. You're not thinking, your body just reacts perfectly on its own.
Your end goal should be to master the ability to have each part of your body think and move independently of the other parts.
That's literally what Ultra Instinct is. I forgot to fully explain that earlier. But anyway, back to the video. Muichiro still gets blasted away. So it's Genya, Tanjiro, and Nezuko fighting all 4 emotion clones. When the Joybird tries to grab him, Tanjiro dodges it instantly, so Tanjiro stays in the fight, and eventually they still all get knocked down, like the original Nezuko gets trapped under the rubble. She grabs Tanjiro's blade, puts her blood demon art on it, and gives him the red blade. Now Tanjiro goes off on all 4 emotion clones. They can't lay a finger on him, even with their wind-based attacks, and Tanjiro learned in the last arc what full power Ultra Instinct feels like, so he goes full power again, and holds them off, while Genya and Nezuko try to kill the main body. Genya realizes he can't do it, so Tanjiro switches places with Genya and Nezuko. While Genya and Nezuko hold off the emotion clones, Tanjiro tries to go after the main body, but the 4 emotion clones merge into one huge emotion demon to stop him. Meanwhile, Muichiro breaks out of the water prison and is fighting Gyoko, Upper Moon 5. Mitsuri comes back, saves the village chief from the fish monsters, and then helps Tanjiro hold off the big merged emotion clone, while Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya go after the real main body. Everything still happens the same, but this time, Tanjiro's foot and body aren't messed up because he dodges everything, and his Ultra Instinct keeps him in good shape to finish the fight. Once the sunrise comes, and Nezuko is burning in the sun, Muichiro throws Tanjiro the new sword. Tanjiro grabs it mid-air, cuts off the main body's head, and Nezuko becomes immune to sunlight. And that wraps up the Swordsmith Village Arc. Now we head right into the Hashira training arc. Basically goes the same. Instead of Tanjiro recovering, he goes straight into training right when Inosuke and Zenitsu do. And And this time, a lot of the Hashira want to spar with him because he can literally dodge all of their attacks. That gives the Hashira more training, and it gives him more training. And the Hashira try to boost his attack power, which they really do. He improves a lot with Gyomei and Sanemi teaching him, but Sanemi still has a restraining order from the Hashira meeting, so both of them can't really be around each other for too long. But with Obanai's training and everyone helping him, his attack power goes way up. So everything basically happens the same after that. Muzan shows up, kills the Ubuyashiki family head. All the demons jump him, and then everyone gets dropped into the Infinity Castle. And the matchups are still the same. Except Akaza's dead, because we killed him in the Mugen Train Arc. So here are the matchups. Upper Moon, 2 fight, Giyu, Rengoku, Shinobu, Kanao, and Inosuke. Upper Moon 1 fight, Tanjiro, Gyomei, Sanemi, Muichiro, and Genya side battles. Zenitsu versus Kaigaku, and Nakime, the Biwa woman, versus Yushiro, Mitsuri, and Obanai. Tengen protects the Ubuyashiki family head's body. So let's start with the fights. Upper Moon 2, Doma. Shinobu said it takes at least 3 Hashira to beat Doma. And here, we have Rengoku, Giyu, the 3rd strongest Hashira, Shinobu, one of the fastest Hashira, and Kanao's eye technique plus Inosuke. That squad absolutely clears Doma. Shinobu doesn't have to sacrifice herself in this timeline because she finally has enough backup. They cut Doma down and finish him without anybody dying. They're all still badly injured though. Shinobu is almost on the brink of death, but she survives side battles. Zenitsu versus Kaigaku goes the same. Zenitsu wins with 7th form. Yushiro takes control of the Infinity Castle with Mitsuri and Obanai backing him. Upper Moon 1, Kokushibo, fight Tanjiro, arrives with Muichiro. Kokushibo notices Tanjiro's earrings and the sun-breathing aura, and instantly gets pissed. He immediately tries to kill Tanjiro first, but Tanjiro activates his powerful Ultra Instinct, and Kokushibo can't land a single hit. Tanjiro can't always counterattack. It's too risky. But he dodges perfectly. While Muichiro searches for an opening, Genya helps too. He eats part of Kokushibo's body, gains a version of his blood demon art, and fires his gun to open weak points. Sanemi and Gyomei show up, and overwhelm Kokushibo now. With all 5 of them attacking, Kokushibo eventually gets his head cut off. He sees his life flash before him, remembers Yoriichi, feels that grief, and Tanjiro comforts him while he dies peacefully. Muzan notices Yushiro has taken control of the Infinity Castle, kills Nakime instantly, and Yushiro forces everyone out of the castle. Now we head into the Sundown Countdown arc. I think basically the end happens the same, but the huge difference is, Tanjiro isn't hurt at all this time. He's right on the front lines with all the Demon Slayers, and with the Hashira having their Demon Slayer marks, and Tanjiro having his own mark plus Ultra Instinct, plus getting those flashbacks of Yoriichi teaching him the 13th form, they basically kill Muzan the same way as the original timeline, dragging him into the sun. But this time, the Hashira don't get nearly as hurt, because Tanjiro is dodging everything and helping them way more than the original. And since they have way more backup, most of them survive the battle. The only one who probably still dies is Gyomei, because he's past 25, and he has the Demon Slayer mark. So he dies after the fight, peacefully, still thinking about his family. Everyone else actually gets to live out the rest of their time. Tanjiro never becomes the Demon King in this timeline, and then the epilogue stays the same. Tanjiro and Kanao get together, Shinobu and Giyu get together, Mitsuri and Obanai finally get together, and the Hashira with Demon Slayer marks still only live until 25. But at least this time they don't die in that brutal final battle. They all get to live peacefully for a few more years. What if Tanjiro had a Bankai? So you guys voted for this in my post, so make sure to check out the post if you guys want to vote for my next video. And I gotta explain a couple things before we even start, because I want to make sure this Bankai system actually fits inside Demon Slayer without breaking the story completely. So first off, in Bleach, to even get a Shikai, or a Bankai, you need a Zanpakuto, a sword that has its own spirit or personality inside it. Demon Slayer obviously doesn't have that. So what we're going to do here is basically turn a Nichiren blade into a Zanpakuto style weapon, but without an actual spirit inside of it. Instead, the awakening is going to come from the user's breathing style and emotions. So here's how we're setting it up. Shikai equals breathing style. Activation. You guys already know that in Demon Slayer, the flames, water, wind, lightning, all that stuff isn't really real. It's just visual effects. But with Shikai, I want all of that to become real elemental attacks. So, water breathing will actually make real water slice out. Flame breathing will make real fire. Wind will create actual wind pressure. Sun breathing will create the real flames and heat it's supposed to. Basically, Shikai equals turning all breathing style visuals into real elemental attacks that function like Bleach's Shikai abilities. Bankai equals extreme survival / near-death awakening. For the Bankai, we're doing it Demon Slayer style. Instead of inner spirits like in Bleach, we're gonna base it on life or death moments. Extreme emotional stress moments, similar to unlocking a Demon Slayer mark. So anytime Tanjiro hits a breaking point, mentally or physically, that's when his Bankai would awaken. So let's get right into this. Tanjiro goes to sell coal, and on his way back up the mountain, the old man tells him, "There's demons roaming around at night. Stay with me." So Tanjiro stays there overnight, comes back in the morning, and finds his whole family dead, except Nezuko, who's turning into a demon. Tanjiro tries to get help, and ends up running into Giyu. They fight, and after that, Giyu tells him to go train under Urokodaki and learn water breathing. Now Tanjiro never really knew about demon slayers or anything like that, so seeing Urokodaki actually produce real water with his breathing style shocks him. And I'll give you guys a quick backstory here. Some people say the demon slayer mark awakened because of Muzan's curse. So demon slayers get this kind of side effect where they can produce elemental attacks through their Nichiren blade, but they can only do it through the blade. They can't shoot flames or water out of their hands. So Tanjiro trains in water breathing, does the boulder training, all of that. Then comes final selection. Everything basically happens the same as the original timeline, just with Tanjiro constantly producing real water with his forms. After final selection, everything continues the same, all the way until Rui's mountain. He already met Zenitsu and Inosuke in the Drum Demon Mansion, so now Inosuke and Tanjiro go up the mountain while Zenitsu stays behind, scared like usual. Tanjiro and Inosuke help the other demon slayers, take down the two demons, and then Tanjiro gets blasted into Rui's area. Nezuko is being tortured. Tanjiro tries to fight Rui, and this is where he unlocks sun breathing, the hottest and strongest flame in the series. Sun breathing produces hotter flames than flame breathing itself, so when you combine it with Nezuko's blood demon art, they're able to burn through Rui's tricks. They cut off Rui's head, but Rui's cheap trick with the string neck still happens, so Giyu finishes him off. Everything plays out the same after that. Then we go to the Hashira meeting. They all question why Tanjiro is traveling with a demon, but Urokodaki and Giyu vouch for him, so he gets let go. Now we move to the Mugen train arc, where they go hoping Rengoku might know something. Everything plays out the same, until Upper Moon 3 appears. This is where things change. Tanjiro is in a high-stress situation, and I still haven't fully talked about how the Bankai works, but both Tanjiro and Rengoku unlock their Bankai during this moment. It's the same idea as Bleach. You unlock Bankai in extreme pressure or life or death situations. Their Bankai works like this. They get a full layer of armor, kind of like Asta's anti-magic armor in Black Clover, but themed around their element. They can use the real breathing style with their Bankai and fully control their elemental attacks. So for example, Rengoku can literally control his Flame Tiger instead of just swinging it. With Bankai active, one Hashira becomes strong enough to take on an Upper Moon alone. Akaza gets pushed back hard, and there are only two real ways to kill Akaza. Selfless state, overwhelming raw power. This time, Tanjiro and Rengoku have so much raw power, thanks to sun breathing and flame breathing in Bankai form, that Akaza gets overwhelmed. Tanjiro doesn't have the 13th form yet, because he hasn't seen Yorichi's memories, so he can't fully master sun breathing, but he still has Bankai armor and elemental control, which is already insane. Rengoku has Bankai Flame Tiger, Tanjiro has Bankai Sun armor. Together, they completely destroy Akaza. Inosuke doesn't unlock Bankai here, and Zenitsu is knocked out because of the train, so it's all Tanjiro and Rengoku. And in this timeline, they defeat Akaza. With Rengoku surviving this time, Tanjiro doesn't go into that sad era like the original timeline. Nobody is depressed, so they all start working out right away. And since almost none of them are hurt like before, they train, hunt demons, and get way stronger. Tanjiro starts working on his Bankai, but he still can't unlock his full elemental form yet. Rengoku has his Flame Tiger, Water Breathing has the Water Dragon, but Tanjiro's Sun Dragon won't show up until the final battle when he gets Yorichi's memories. So right now, he's mainly working on controlling his breathing style, improving his attacks, and figuring out how to use Bankai longer and make it stronger. Inosuke is obviously jealous that Tanjiro unlocked his Bankai first. Zenitsu doesn't really care. Now we move into the Entertainment District arc. Dialogue stays the same. Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke go with Tengen instead of the three girls. They dress up as girls, start investigating, and eventually find Daki. I'm starting at the moment where Tanjiro's eyes start bleeding versus Daki, while Tengen, Inosuke, and Zenitsu are fighting the belt half of Daki underground. Since Tanjiro has Bankai and real elemental flames, Daki's belts can't handle the heat at all. She's never seen sun-breathing flames before, and these are the hottest flames she's ever touched. Her belts literally start burning, letting Tanjiro get closer. This time, he actually cuts off her head solo without needing help. That triggers Gyutaro showing up early, and Tanjiro is still way too weak for Gyutaro in base form, so he immediately activates his Bankai, gets his armor, and tries to fight back. Even then, he still gets pushed around until Tengen, Zenitsu, and Inosuke return. Inosuke and Zenitsu take Daki. Tengen and Tanjiro fight Gyutaro. Tengen activates his Bankai too, which is super cool, but he doesn't have a big signature animal or attack like the others. His is mainly sound wave armor, mixed with air blasts similar to wind breathing, because sound breathing is based off thunder breathing, which is based off wind breathing. So Tengen uses these shockwaves and sound pressure to keep Gyutaro back, while his armor absorbs damage. This time, the Demon Slayers are almost on par with Upper Moons, because they have Shikai and Bankai, so the gap isn't as crazy as the original. Tengen does not lose an arm since he has armor now. He and Tanjiro rush Gyutaro and kill him quicker. Now the Daki fight. Inosuke still gets stabbed through the chest with the sickle, but instead of dying, the shock awakens his Bankai. Zenitsu, trapped under the rubble, unlocks his Bankai too. Zenitsu gets lightning armor. He doesn't have an animal spirit, since thunder breathing doesn't branch like that. Inosuke does get an animal, because he invented beast breathing himself, learning it from growing up with boars. His Bankai animal is a boar, and instead of flames or lightning, his boar spirit is like a wind beast hybrid, fast air pressure attacks, and wild movement. Together, Inosuke and Zenitsu kill Daki the same way as the original timeline, just faster and cleaner. I hope this doesn't sound too far-fetched, but I'm trying to keep it fun and hype. Nezuko still heals Tengen, Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke, and instead of Tanjiro being in a 3-month coma, he instantly goes right back into training since he never got skewered by Gyutaro's sickle thanks to his Bankai armor and Tengen jumping in. Now, with all that done, Tanjiro trains a lot on his Bankai. He's working on timing it better, making the armor stronger, and controlling the elemental flames. But his new swords aren't ready yet, so he heads to the Swordsmith Village, and we start the Swordsmith Village Arc. Most of the dialogue stays the same. He meets Mitsuri, meets Muichiro, meets Genya, all that. I'm going to jump right to the part where Muichiro clamps Tanjiro's nose to wake him up. Then Upper Moon 4 attacks. This time, the fight starts basically the same, except Tanjiro's flame output is actually dangerous to Hantengu's clones, because sun-breathing flames are the hottest flames in the series. Muichiro still gets blasted away like the original, because he's not activating his Bankai right away. He's pacing himself, so he still gets caught and launched out of the building. So Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya fight the emotion clones. Tanjiro's flames destroy a ton of their wood attacks instantly, but since the clones regenerate fast, it's still a rough fight. Nezuko and Genya help exactly like before. Now, Muichiro vs Gyoko, Upper Moon 5, goes way differently, because in this timeline, mist breathing actually creates mist. Muichiro's whole fighting style becomes way stronger. He's basically invisible in the mist, dodging fish demons, blocking Gyoko's attacks, but his sword still sucks. That crappy blade slows him down. Because of that, he never gets trapped in the water prison this time. He stays out of it, and then when he gets the new blade from Kosoka Namori, that's when he unlocks his Demon Slayer mark. With Bankai and actual mist being produced, he destroys Gyoko even faster than before. Meanwhile, we go back to Tanjiro versus Upper Moon 4's clones. Genya, Nezuko, and Tanjiro head for the main body same as the original. Mitsuri arrives and instantly pops her Bankai because she sees the massive fused emotion demon. Love breathing doesn't have a spirit animal, but as a flame breathing derivative, it has heat properties, so her Bankai armor glows with hot pink flame energy. With that 10 times stat boost, she pushes the emotion demon way harder than the original timeline. While Mitsuri holds off the big form clone, Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya chase down the real Hantengu. Everything plays out the same. Tanjiro loses his sword. Muichiro throws his new one. It lands in front of Tanjiro. He grabs it, channels all his breathing into it, and finally cuts off the main body's head, killing Upper Moon 4. Nezuko still survives the sunlight and becomes immune. And now that the Swordsmith Village Arc is done, we enter the Hashira Training Arc. Let's get right into that. Now, after learning what the Demon Slayer mark really is, and how it basically curses them to die at age 25, a lot of the Hashira start thinking differently. People like Sanemi and Obanai would want the mark because they're battle maniacs, but with Bankai and Shikai now in the story, the mark honestly isn't needed as much anymore. Bankai gives them a bigger boost than the mark ever could, and Shikai already lets them use real elements. So instead, the Hashira start focusing on training more people to reach Shikai level, because if you think about it, Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Tanjiro Tanjiro are prodigies. They're rare. Most Demon Slayers can't even produce full elemental breathing effects. Remember that random Demon Slayer from Rui's Mountain that used water breathing? He barely made a sprinkle of water. That's the normal level for Demon Slayers. Most of them can't produce a full water dragon or wind attacks like Gyu or Sanemi can. So the Hashira's new goal is helping more Demon Slayers unlock Shikai, since Bankai is still too advanced. So the training arc goes basically the same. Tanjiro trains with his Bankai, Zenitsu trains with his lightning armor Bankai, and Inosuke trains with his boar-based Bankai. They all get way stronger. Then we get to the moment Muzan attacks the Ubuyashiki family, and the explosion sends everyone into the Infinity Castle. Now let's go over the matchups. Most of the stuff in the Infinity Castle plays out the same. But remember, we killed off Akaza early on, so Akaza isn't there anymore. That means we can split up Gyu and Tanjiro this time. Tanjiro is going to the Upper Moon 1 fight, and Gyu goes to the Upper Moon 2 fight to help Shinobu. And since Demon Slayers now have Bankai, like I said earlier, one Hashira with Bankai is basically equal to an upper rank demon. They're way stronger than in the original timeline. So let me break down all the fights quickly. Side battles first, Kaigaku versus Zenitsu. This fight plays out almost exactly the same, but since Kaigaku was a demon slayer, he has demon abilities too. Still, Zenitsu popping his Bankai makes the fight one-sided. He definitely can't handle Zenitsu's Bankai now. Zenitsu kills him clean, barely gets hurt. Yushiro, Mitsuri, and Obanai versus Nakime. Same outcome as original. Yushiro takes over Nakime, Mitsuri and Obanai help him control the Infinity Castle. Nothing major changes there. Upper Moon 2, Doma versus Gyu, Rengoku, Shinobu, Kanao, Inosuke, Shinobu is insanely stronger now with Bankai. With the 10 times stat boost, she's strong enough to actually cut off demon heads, so she carries 2 blades in this timeline. The moment she meets Doma, she instantly activates her Bankai and goes all in. When Gyu joins, it's basically over. In the original timeline, Shinobu said it takes 3 Hashira minimum to beat Doma. Here, you have Bankai Gyu Bankai, Shinobu Bankai Kanao Bankai Inosuke. Doma isn't escaping. He gets absolutely overwhelmed. This fight is a stomp compared to the original. Upper Moon 1, Kokushibo versus Tanjiro, Gyomei, Sanemi, Muichiro, Genya. Now the interesting one, because demons can also use Bankai in this AU, Kokushibo has a Bankai too. On top of Blood Demon Art Crescent Blades, he's stacked. But the big difference is, Tanjiro is here, and so is everyone else with Bankai activated. Muichiro doesn't die here, because with his armor style Bankai, Kokushibo can't pierce his body like in canon. Tanjiro's Bankai plus sun breathing gives Kokushibo huge problems. Gyomei's Bankai gives him raw power, far past his original self. Sanemi popping Bankai makes him even faster and deadlier. And Genya still eats Kokushibo's flesh to gain his Blood Demon Art bullets. All 5 of them together overwhelm Kokushibo. His head gets cut off just like usual. He sees his brother's memories, regrets everything, and dies peacefully. Aftermath. Before sunrise countdown, Muzan realizes Yushiro has taken control of Infinity Castle. So Muzan kills Nakime like in canon, and Yushiro evacuates all Demon Slayers out of the castle for the final battle in the Sunrise Countdown arc. So, instead of Tanjiro being half dead at the start of the Sunrise Countdown arc, like in the original timeline, he's actually in perfect shape here. And the same goes for all the Hashira. Muichiro survived, Shinobu survived, Genya survived. Everyone is alive going into the final battle, and they all have their Bankai ready. Now this fight is completely different, because Muzan is getting absolutely overwhelmed. Every Hashira has Bankai and their full breathing styles activated, so Muzan is basically getting jumped by an entire squad of upper rank level fighters. And when you add in the drug that slows him down and weakens him, Muzan starts losing more and more ground. Every time Muzan tries going for a kill, their Bankai armor blocks his attacks. He can't slice their limbs off. He can't instantly kill anybody. Even that massive explosion he used in the original timeline, it barely phases anyone here, because they're all fully armored up with Bankai. Tanjiro during all this starts getting his Yoriichi flashbacks, and now that he's finally strong enough, he figures out the real secret behind sun breathing, the true 13th form. With that, Tanjiro can finally control the full Fire Sun Dragon, and he fully awakens his complete Bankai form. With the Hashira holding Muzan down, and Tanjiro mastering the Sun Dragon, they push Muzan all the way back. They drag him out into the sunlight, and Tanjiro finishes him off for good. And this timeline actually ends with a real happy ending. Shinobu and Gyu get together, and Shinobu survives. Muichiro lives past 14, and his bloodline continues. Mitsuri and Obanai both survive and end up together. Tanjiro and Kanao start their own family, and because so many of them didn't rely on the Demon Slayer mark, most of them survive past 25 instead of dying young. So, yeah, this is probably the happiest ending I've ever made for a Demon Slayer timeline. And what if Tanjiro had his memories from the beginning of the story. So, I actually got this idea from the Jaegerists. I was just scrolling through my For You page on YouTube and saw this video pop up. I haven't watched it yet, but it seemed like a really good idea. So I decided to put it in one of my posts, and you guys picked it. So thank you to the Jaegerists for this idea. So, we're gonna make Tanjiro have all his memories from the very beginning. That means he already knows how to use sun breathing to its fullest, because he has every flashback and memory up to the point where Muzan gets killed in the original story. He knows everything: how to use the selfless state, how to activate the Demon Slayer mark, and how to perfect sun breathing even more. So, let's get this started. Tanjiro goes out to sell coal, and just like in the original timeline, the old man tells him not to go back up the mountain because it's dangerous at night and demons roam around. Muzan shows up and kills his family. And when Tanjiro comes back, he sees Nezuko transforming. He tries to help her, and then Gyu arrives. They fight, and Gyu sends Tanjiro to Urokodaki's place for training. Urokodaki starts training him in water breathing, but Tanjiro quickly realizes sun breathing fits him way better. Urokodaki doesn't question it much. He just says, whatever fits you best, use that. Fun fact, Rengoku trained Mitsuri, and she couldn't master flame breathing, so she made her own, love breathing. So, this actually fits perfectly. Tanjiro uses sun breathing throughout his training, and easily kills every demon in the final selection, including the hand demon. He goes through all the Season 1 events pretty much the same, all the way to Mount Natagumo, Rui's mountain. But this time, he's far stronger. He actually cuts off Rui's head himself, using sun breathing and the selfless state. Now, he doesn't have his Demon Slayer mark yet, because you can only unlock it through a near-death experience, which he hasn't had. But with sun breathing and the selfless state alone, he's already powerful enough to destroy Rui. After this, people talk about how defeating a lower moon qualifies him to become a Hashira, but Tanjiro turns it down since he's still not on the same level as the current Hashira, and he's too humble to accept it anyway. Everything else plays out the same at the Hashira meeting, except Tanjiro fights back way harder this time. The Ubuyashiki family head still declares Nezuko safe, since both Gyu and Urokodaki vouch for her, and the Hashira reluctantly agree. So, this time, Tanjiro already knows what's going to happen during the Mugen train arc. He asks the Ubuyashiki family to send another Hashira with them because he doesn't want Rengoku to die, and he doesn't fully trust his own abilities to defeat Akaza yet, even though he already knows the selfless state. Since Tanjiro warns them, the Ubuyashiki family decides to take his advice seriously. They say, well, we'll send another Hashira anyway, just in case. So they send Sanemi, since he's usually close by and always training. So now it's Rengoku and Sanemi going on the Mugen train mission with Tanjiro, Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Nezuko. Everything plays out the same at first. They all fall asleep in Enmu's dream trap. When they wake up, Rengoku and Sanemi protect the passengers, while Tanjiro, Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Nezuko go after Lower Moon 1, Enmu. They defeat Enmu, the train derails, and that's when Upper Moon 3 Akaza appears. But this time, Sanemi is there, and Tanjiro already knows exactly how this fight is going to go down. Rengoku and Sanemi put up an incredible fight against Akaza, and when Akaza starts to get the upper hand, Tanjiro uses the selfless state to get behind him and slice him clean through the neck while he's distracted. Akaza sees the image of his fiancée, finally finds peace, and accepts death. After that, they all return to the Demon Slayer course. Tanjiro still doesn't unlock his Demon Slayer mark yet, since he hasn't had that near-death trigger moment. Now, after the Mugen Train arc, we move straight into the Entertainment District arc. So, we can just skip all the dialogue and get straight to the end of the Entertainment District arc, starting with Daki versus Tanjiro, which is one of the first major fights we see. This time, Tanjiro actually kills Daki, instead of going into that blood-eyed rage mode where he starts doubting himself, saying he isn't special. That whole moment never happens. Nezuko never has to get out of her box either, because Tanjiro cuts Daki's neck clean off right away. He's way more experienced with sun breathing now, and already knows how to use the selfless state. But the real problem starts when Gyutaro pops out. He nearly kills Tanjiro, but Tengen, Zenitsu, and Inosuke arrive just in time to help. Tanjiro and Tengen take on Gyutaro, while Zenitsu and Inosuke handle Daki. The fight plays out pretty similar to the original timeline, except this time, Tengen doesn't lose his arm. Once it's all over, Nezuko wakes up from her box and heals everyone from the poison. And that's basically the whole Entertainment District arc. Everything ends faster and smoother in this timeline. Now Tanjiro probably still chips his sword while fighting Daki. Let's just say he got hit by a surprise attack, or maybe from the pressure of fighting Gyutaro. Since Tanjiro's almost Hashira level at this point, that would make sense. But unlike before, he doesn't fall into a coma afterward. Instead, he goes right back to training his sun breathing even more while waiting for his new sword to be be sent. Eventually, he travels to the Swordsmith Village, and that's where we start the next arc. Everything at the start happens the same. We see the hot spring scene and all that, but things start changing once the battle begins. When Tanjiro is fighting the four emotions, they keep multiplying. Muichiro, the mist Hashira, gets blasted away again, and Tanjiro's in a near-death situation. Nezuko's getting beat up, Genya's almost dying, and Tanjiro's all alone. That's when he unlocks his Demon Slayer mark. From there, he completely turns the fight around. He's slicing through every clone, pushing them all back with pure speed and precision. Then Nezuko gets trapped under rubble, and she gives Tanjiro her red blade power. With that boost, Tanjiro wipes out the four emotions. Meanwhile, Genya and Nezuko try to find the main body but can't cut it, so Tanjiro steps in to help. As all the four emotions merge into one, Mitsuri returns and holds off the new merged form, while Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya locate the real body and finally decapitate it. Meanwhile, Muichiro is over fighting Upper Moon 5, and everything there happens almost exactly like in the original timeline. Nezuko still becomes immune to sunlight, and Tanjiro finishes off Upper Moon 4 by cutting off his head. And that wraps up the Swordsmith Village Arc in this version. Now we move into the Hashira Training Arc. But this time, Rengoku is still alive, and that changes things up quite a bit. So, with Tanjiro basically being Hashira level right now, he's got the Selfless State and the Demon Slayer mark mastered. During the Hashira Training Arc, he's actually helping teach these abilities to others. With Rengoku still alive, he's also part of the training, making sure everyone's swordsmanship and form are solid. He's kind of doing what Muichiro did in the original timeline, checking everyone's breathing techniques and refining their style. That's really the only major change in the training arc. Everything else still plays out the same. Muzan's plan moves forward, and he eventually kills the Ubuyashiki family head. All the Hashira, including Rengoku, rush to him, and they all end up getting trapped inside the Infinity Castle. Now, before we get into the fights, I just want to say, if you watched my What If Yorichi Was in Tanjiro's Era video, I made a little mistake there. I said Akaza was alive when he was actually dead. So my apologies for that one. I just mix up a lot sometimes with so many what ifs. Anyway, in this timeline, Akaza is dead. So that leaves Kaigaku, the Biwa woman, Upper Moon 1, and Upper Moon 2 still alive. Let's start with the Upper Moon 1 fight. Tanjiro joins that battle, and because he has both the Selfless State and the Demon Slayer mark, he's able to save Muichiro's life. Kokushibo still fights with that same intensity, but this time, Tanjiro's presence really shakes him. When Tanjiro uses sun breathing, it reminds Kokushibo of his brother, Yorichi. That sends him into a rage at first, but after he's decapitated by Tanjiro, Gyomei, Sanemi, and Muichiro working together, Kokushibo finally understands everything. He realizes his jealousy of his brother was pointless, accepts his death, and fades away peacefully. Now for Upper Moon 2, this fight goes way differently too. Giyu joins Shinobu, Kanao, and Inosuke against Doma. Remember, Shinobu said it would take at least 3 Hashira-level fighters to defeat him. And in this version, they actually have that. Inosuke and Kanao together are basically Hashira level. Giyu is the 3rd strongest Hashira, and Shinobu's speed and poison make her incredibly dangerous. Together, they overpower Doma without needing Shinobu to sacrifice herself. Giyu's defense with water breathing, and Kanao's precision with her eyes finish him off once Shinobu's poison starts weakening him. Meanwhile, Rengoku helps Mitsuri and Obanai fight the Biwa woman. Yushiro, the good demon, joins in and helps take control of the Infinity Castle. The 4 of them work together and take her down, but Muzan realizes what's happening. He kills the Biwa woman and tries to destroy everything, but Yushiro manages to pull everyone out before that happens. Now we get to the Sunrise Countdown arc, and this time, everything ends way faster. Tanjiro already knows how to use the Selfless State, the Demon Slayer mark, and sun breathing to its fullest. With his memories from the future, he already knows exactly where Muzan's 7 hearts are and how to strike them. With all the Hashira alive and fighting alongside him, Muzan doesn't stand a chance. They trap him in the sunlight and completely burn him away. No one dies in this timeline, so this is another perfect ending for Demon Slayer. Rengoku survives, Shinobu survives, everyone lives, but the Demon Slayer mark still takes its toll. Rengoku and Tanjiro both eventually die peacefully from the mark years later. Obanai and Mitsuri get married and live out their final years together before their mark claims them too. Gyomei dies as well, just like Kokushibo predicted, but he dies in peace, knowing the children forgave him, and it was all a misunderstanding. Sanemi and Gyu both survive, and Shinobu ends up with Gyu in this version. It's a peaceful ending, the kind Demon Slayer never got, but I think it fits perfectly for this what if. So yeah, that's how this version of Demon Slayer ends. I hope you guys really liked this timeline. Comment what other what ifs you guys want to see next, and click on this video right here, because it's one of my best ones yet. What if the main trio turned into demons? So I could just imagine them being demons. And you guys voted this for my newest post. So make sure to check that out if you guys want to vote for the next video I make. But let's first go over Inosuke and how he changes, and what his blood demon art would be, and how strong he would be. So Inosuke has that weird looking, kind of girl looking face, and he wears a boar mask, so I think he would put that into his demon form while evolving into a demon. I think he would be a little bit furry, maybe have a full boar mask type face, but he would still wear the boar mask. I don't think he would have a whole different face. I think he would have longer, sharper nails and resemble an actual boar even more. His pain tolerance is already insane, but now he's a demon, so that doesn't matter. His flexibility is on a whole new level. He could split his body apart and just regenerate instantly. His strength is going to be on a whole different level. I think he would definitely be one of the upper moons. He already has animal-like movement and speed, so as a demon he'd be crazy. I don't think he uses a sword anymore. I think he would fight with bare hands and claws like a boar. He would basically be like a Kaza with hand-to-hand combat. His instincts would be even crazier than his human version. Beast breathing mixed with his demon body would be insane. Blood demon art, Predator Zone. So you guys know Akaza's death compass. His would basically be like that, but instead it's a predator zone. It's like 5 to 10 meters around him, and he can sense anybody in it. It's like he's hunting prey. He can see the exact weak point and how to kill them instantly. It's a little more broken than Akaza's ability, honestly. Plus, his muscles probably become like steel when he uses this, so he hits way harder, and it's harder to cut his limbs off. Now let's go to Zenitsu. Zenitsu mainly relies on thunder breathing, which puts most of the force into his legs to move faster. He has to have a sword, so he would still use a sword, and only use first form, but his blood demon art would make up for that. His hearing would be ascended, basically like a bat. He can hear waves of sound, every echo, every vibration. He has crazy fight decision making, even while unconscious. His speed, strength, and reflexes are off the charts now. If we are counting Zenitsu after Infinity Castle, then he even has 7th form too. Blood demon art, sword flash resonance. This weaponizes sound plus lightning. It makes him basically real lightning. You know how Kokushibo has the crescent blades? Zenitsu would make actual lightning blades, like Kagaku's breathing style, but even more deadly. He could do sonic lightning that slices targets at the speed of sound. He could vibrate your bones and organs from inside. He could make sound shock waves explode outwards like thunder. Thunderclap and flash would become actual lightning. Oh yeah, in this video, we are going over not just the trio Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Tanjiro. We are also going over Kanao and Genya. So let's go over Kanao's abilities as a demon. She already has really good speed, strength, agility, sword skill. So that gets a demon boost. She would obviously still use a sword, and she would have precision sword control, even better than she did as a human. Her eye technique she used against Doma would be even stronger now, and she could regenerate her eye every time it becomes blind, so she could spam that technique all she wants. Blood demon art, illumination. She makes petals made of demonic light that blurs reality and distorts the opponent's senses, so all their senses go crazy. Their sight, their smell, their feeling, their hearing, everything gets messed up. She could make clones like how Doma made ice clones, but hers are made out of petals. So her whole blood demon art is controlling petals that mess with senses, and she can regenerate her eye over and over again for her eye ability. Now let's go with Genya. So Genya already has a natural Shanghari type body. We basically already saw him become a little bit like a demon, because he can eat demons and grab their traits. He can grab regenerating and some of their blood demon arts, just like we saw in the Infinity Castle arc. But if he fully turned into a demon, I think his demon form would just be a little bit taller, stronger, and all his abilities would just be boosted way more. Blood demon art, devouring Geneforge. He can steal the opponent's demon power instantly and reshape it inside his own body, so he can literally steal other demons' abilities. You guys know Ryo from Blue Lock or Ryota Kishi? It's basically kind of like that, but he just steals other demons' abilities. So he could steal Kokushibo's blood demon art. He could steal Akaza's blood demon art. He could steal Doma's blood demon art. He can steal all of them and use it as his own powers, and he can mix some of them too. So that is his broken blood demon art. Now let's go with Tanjiro. So Tanjiro has natural kindness, so Muzan would probably need to take all that out. So the only memories Tanjiro keeps is the selfless state, his dad's memories using the selfless state, and him learning sun breathing. So he's someone who's going to learn way more. And he already has naturally better smell. So just like Zenitsu and Inosuke, with them being demons and getting heightened senses, Tanjiro would have a heightened version of his smell. He'll be bigger, stronger, he gets the demon boost, and he can regen. And his blood demon art is pretty self-explanatory. Just like Kokushibo's blood demon art makes crescent blades, Tanjiro would make fire while using sun breathing. He can literally create fire when he swings his sword in sun breathing forms. So that's basically his blood demon art. It's super basic, but it's also super powerful. My favorite one is still Genya's though. Personally, I like copying abilities in anime. Let me know which blood demon art you guys like the best in this whole video. Now, let's rank the upper moons. Tanjiro would take the top spot from Kokushibo. After a couple years of mastering his demon form and blood demon art, he would definitely surpass Kokushibo. Sun breathing is naturally stronger than moon breathing, so Tanjiro eventually cuts Kokushibo down. Tanjiro becomes upper 1. Zenitsu would be upper moon 6. He could literally blitz Daki and Gyutaro and slice their heads off faster than they can react. Kanao would be upper moon 5. She can mask her presence and mess with senses, and her precision sword style would let her outplay Gyoko easily. Genya would be upper moon 4. He can steal other demons' abilities, so he can beat all the emotion clones, find the main body, and kill it. Inosuke would be upper moon 3, because his abilities would already be on par, or better than Akaza's. Doma would obviously stay upper moon 2, so that's where they all would rank. Hope you guys liked this video, and let me know what videos you want next. Click on this video right here. What if Tanjiro accepted Gyutaro's offer? Let's go through this entire timeline. Season 1 basically happens the same. Tanjiro's family gets killed. He stays at the old man's house, comes back, sees his whole family dead. Gyu shows up, they fight, and Gyu sends him to Urokodaki. Tanjiro learns water breathing and trains like normal. He cuts the rock in half, goes to final selection, kills the hand demon, then after that he fights the swamp demons, the drum demon, and other demons. He meets Inosuke and Zenitsu, and then finally we get to Rui's mountain. He defeats most of Rui's family until he gets to Rui. Then he unlocks sun breathing, and Nezuko helps with her blood demon art. After that arc ends, we get to the Hashira meeting. They ask why he's traveling with a demon. They settle that because Gyu and Urokodaki vouch for him, and the master allows it. After that, the Mugen train happens the same way. Rengoku still dies to Upper Moon 3 Akaza. And now we move into the Entertainment District arc, and now we're probably gonna skip most of the dialogue. So Tengen tries to take the girls, and Tanjiro jumps in and volunteers Inosuke and Zenitsu to go with him. They go in dressed up as girls. They try to find Daki, Upper Moon 6, and they finally find her. While Tengen, Inosuke, and Zenitsu are fighting the belt half of Daki, Tanjiro is fighting the real Daki. Everything basically happens the same. I'm skipping over most of the actual fights like Tengen and Tanjiro versus Gyutaro, and Zenitsu plus Inosuke versus Daki. I'm gonna skip to near the end. Tengen stops his heart with his muscles. His hand is blown off, Zenitsu is trapped under the rubble, and Inosuke is on the brink of death. And this is where Gyutaro offers Tanjiro to become a demon. Now I think this can go a couple different ways, but since Tanjiro doesn't have that realizing moment, where he thinks if him and Nezuko ever became demons, they would want a demon slayer to kill them, that moment never happens in this timeline. Instead, he thinks like, if Nezuko cannot eat humans and stay herself, then I can be the same way. So he accepts Gyutaro's offer, but right when he almost finishes regenerating and gets that demon boost, he instantly turns on Gyutaro and starts fighting him. Gyutaro is shocked because he thought Tanjiro was on his side. Then Tengen comes in and helps Tanjiro defeat Gyutaro. Zenitsu breaks out of the rubble using one of his breathing forms. Inosuke recovers enough to help, and Zenitsu plus Inosuke finish off Daki. And some of you might think, well, what about Muzan? Doesn't Muzan have control over demons? Well, it breaks just like with Nezuko. Gyutaro is already shocked and confused, and Muzan is way too focused on Upper Moon 6 dying. So he doesn't even realize that Tanjiro became a demon yet. This masked his presence and broke Muzan's control. So Tanjiro becomes a demon like Nezuko, but Tanjiro can actually talk. After that, let me know if you guys want me to drop a full evil timeline where Tanjiro never goes good again and just stays a demon the whole story. If you want that, comment below and I'll do it. But anyway, let's get back into this. So Tanjiro doesn't go into a coma now because he's a demon, so he heals way quicker. And I think even now, Rengoku would accept him because that was his dying wish, and Tengen would accept him too. But you already know some of the other Hashira would still be very iffy about training a demon, but I still think they would end up training him eventually because Tanjiro is still loyal to humans. So instead of 3 months in a coma, he's 3 months training. He learns how to regen properly, they study him, they test him, he learns how his demon body works. works, and he also starts to fight and use his breathing differently. During this 3-month training period, his blood demon art shows up. And like I said in my last video when I did, what if the whole Koboko squad became demons? Tanjiro, Zenitsu, Inosuke, Genya, Kanao. I said Tanjiro's blood demon art would basically be like Kokushibo's. You know how Kokushibo had those crescent moonblades that come off his sword? Tanjiro's would be the flame version. So basically, when he uses sun breathing as a demon, the flames literally come off his sword, like actual burning flame lines, just like the anime. It boosts the damage like crazy and looks scary. So after those 3 months, and since nobody is bringing him a new sword, Tanjiro leaves and travels to the Swordsmith Village. Everything plays out the same. He trains with the doll, he meets Muichiro, he meets Mitsuri, he meets Genya, and now we're gonna skip directly to the part where Muichiro clamps Tanjiro's nose and Upper Moon 4. Arrives and everything basically happens almost exactly the same, but Muichiro still gets blasted away, and Tanjiro, Genya, and Nezuko still have to fight all the 4 emotion clones. They do everything just like the original timeline, but Tanjiro can actually fight way better here, because he's a demon now. So when he's fighting that clone with the wings and the sound and all that, he wouldn't be hurt like that. He wouldn't have to struggle through his eardrums bursting. He doesn't have to fight through the pain. He can just regen. So he can fight that clone way better and basically almost kill it on his own. And then he comes in and saves Nezuko and Genya, just like the original, and then they still knock down all the houses. Nezuko gets trapped under the rubble, and she grabs Tanjiro's blade, puts her blood on it, activates her blood demon art, and gives him the red blade, which is super OP. He cuts down all 4 clones, while Genya and Nezuko try to kill the main body. Genya realizes he can't decapitate it, so they switch positions, and Tanjiro tries to do it. Now we're gonna cut back to Muichiro here. Muichiro is fighting Upper Moon 5, Gyoko, and that basically happens exactly the same. He unlocks the Demon Slayer mark, gets his new sword, and whoops his ass. So that all plays out exactly like the original timeline. Mitsuri comes back to the village, takes down all the fish monsters going everywhere, saves the chief, and then helps Tanjiro hold off the main emotion clone that combined all 4 into one. Mitsuri holds him off while Tanjiro, Genya, and Nezuko go fight the real body. Muichiro comes back, throws Tanjiro his sword, but here's the big twist. Tanjiro is a demon now. So Nezuko is not the only one getting burned by sunlight. Tanjiro is actually burning too. He grabs the sword and finishes the decapitation anyway. But by the time sunlight hits him full force, he starts burning like Nezuko and starts accepting his death like, oh, well, at least we tried, Nezuko. But then both of them realize they can become immune to sunlight, just like Nezuko did. And that makes Muzan very mad that 2 demons can do it. But it gives Tanjiro and Nezuko way better chances. So now we move into the Hashira training arc. So Tanjiro basically, instead of healing up, he's already regenerated. So he's already training with the Hashira. But with the master's plans and stuff, we don't know if they'd even let Tanjiro fight in the Infinity Castle because they kept Nezuko under protection, and that's the one thing Muzan needs. Demons immune to sunlight. So it's kind of a hard choice, but I really don't think in a realistic timeline that Tanjiro would even be allowed to go. They would keep him hidden because he's way too important, and they would try to make sure Nakimi wouldn't find him. But anyway, that's the realistic version. Now let's veer off and make this more interesting. Let's just say Tanjiro does go into the Infinity Castle anyway. So after the Hashira training arc, where they are all training and Tanjiro gets his more defined blood demon art, the master's plan goes into motion. Muzan comes in, tries to kill him, blows up the whole mansion. All the Hashira attack him, and then they all get dragged into the Infinity Castle. All the matchups happen the same. Akaza versus Tanjiro and Giyu. Shinobu versus Doma with Kanao and Inosuke. Upper Moon 1 Kokushibo versus Gyomei, Sanemi, Muichiro, and Genya. Upper Moon 3 happens almost exactly the same, but Tanjiro can take hits for Giyu, so Giyu isn't as injured because Tanjiro just regenerates. Giyu still holds out until he has the memory of his father using the transparent world. Unlocks that, and Akaza still dies like the original. Upper Moon 2 happens the same. Shinobu dies to poison, and Kanao plus Inosuke kill Doma. Upper Moon 1 happens the same. Muichiro dies, Genya dies, but Sanemi and Gyomei finish Kokushibo off. The side battles happen the same. Zenitsu kills Kaigaku with the 7th form, and Nakime gets taken over by Yushiro, while Mitsuri and Obanai cover him. Muzan notices, kills Nakimi, and Yushiro gets everyone out of the Infinity Castle. Now we head to the Sunrise Countdown arc. Tanjiro doesn't need medical help because he's a demon. He just regions and fights right on the front lines. He takes hits for the Hashira since he can always regen. Tanjiro gets flashbacks of Yoriichi telling him where all the 7 hearts are, how to do the 13th form, all of that. Everything plays out the same with Muzan getting dragged into the sun and dying. But one thing changes. Tanjiro never becomes Demon King Tanjiro. They inject him with the human serum immediately, and he becomes human again, just like Nezuko. That breaks the Demon Slayer Mark curse, so Tanjiro and Nezuko both live past 25. The only Hashira that survive this version are Sanemi and Giyu, but Giyu is missing an arm, and Sanemi is missing a few fingers. They still die at 25 because they have the mark, but Tanjiro gets to live with Kanao, and Nezuko gets to live free too. So that's how this time. What if Tanjiro was trained by Gyomei? You guys voted for this one on my post, so go check that out if you haven't already. I wasn't really sure what you guys wanted. Some of you said he should go through Season 1 first, learn water breathing, and then train with Gyomei, while others said he should start training with him right away. I'm guessing most of you meant right from the beginning, so let's get into it. After Giyu and Tanjiro fought, instead of Giyu telling him to go to Urokodaki, Giyu takes Tanjiro straight to the Demon Slayer Corps. Giyu's still kinda iffy about the whole Nezuko being a demon thing, but on the way there, he starts believing she wouldn't hurt humans. When they get there, the Hashira meeting happens about the same. Sanemi still acts crazy, stabs Nezuko, and all that. But when the master shows up, he already knows there are good demons out there, like Tamayo. With Giyu vouching for Nezuko, the master decides to accept her. That means Tanjiro gets to meet the other Hashira much earlier and actually connect with them, especially Gyomei, the stone Hashira. Gyomei sees how determined Tanjiro is and decides to take him under his wing. So the biggest difference here is that Tanjiro learns stone breathing instead of water breathing. Everything else from Season 1 still happens mostly the same. He still meets Zenitsu and Inosuke at the mansion, but now his whole fighting style is completely different. When they reach Rui's mountain, it all plays out about the same. Tanjiro still defeats the mother spider demon and her family, but when Tanjiro faces Rui, he unlocks sun breathing, just like in the original timeline. He starts using it and almost kills Rui, but just like before, Giyu shows up and finishes the job. After that, everything continues the same way, except now, Tanjiro already knows a bit of sun breathing while still using stone breathing as his main style. Since Tanjiro's curious about sun breathing, he asks Gyomei if he knows anything about it. Gyomei doesn't, so he tells him to go ask Rengoku about it. But Rengoku's already on the Mugen train, which sets up the Mugen train arc perfectly. So we skip the Hashira meeting since that already happened, and now Inosuke, Zenitsu, Tanjiro, and Rengoku all board the Mugen train. Everything plays out mostly the same. They all fall into Enmu's dream trap. Tanjiro and Inosuke go up top to fight Lower Moon 1, while Rengoku, Nezuko, and Zenitsu stay behind to protect the passengers. It all goes the same as the original timeline. Rengoku ends up fighting Akaza, but sadly, he still dies here. The difference is that Tanjiro's a bit stronger physically because of his stone breathing training, but he's still too inexperienced to make a huge difference in that fight. After that, Tanjiro goes on several missions with Gyomei to get stronger. Since his body's already built like a tank from Gyomei's training, he learns a lot from watching how Gyomei handles real demons. These missions give Tanjiro a big boost in strength, endurance, and battle sense. Then we move into the Entertainment District arc. Tanjiro, of course, stands up for the girls that Tengen was trying to take for undercover missions. So Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Tanjiro all head to the district together, and everything starts off basically the same. When the fight with Daki begins, everything plays out almost exactly like the original. Tanjiro still gets that bloodshot eye moment from overusing his breathing, because he still feels like he's not special. He doesn't have a Demon Slayer mark or anything, but his body can handle a lot more now because of stone breathing, so he lasts longer in the fight. He still ends up passing out from exhaustion. Nezuko comes out and saves him, and then Tengen, Inosuke, and Zenitsu show up. After Nezuko calms down, Tanjiro puts her back in the box, and the rest of the fight goes just like before. Once the battle's over, instead of falling into a long coma, Tanjiro's body holds up better. His strength from Gyomei's training helps him recover faster, though he's still badly hurt. After a bit of recovery, he starts going on a few more missions with Gyomei again to continue his training. His sword takes a lot of damage during these missions, so he requests a new one, but it never arrives in time. So he heads to the Swordsmith Village, and that's where we start the next arc. So, We're gonna skip all the dialogue in the Swordsmith Village Arc and get straight into the fighting. It starts when Muichiro pinches Tanjiro's nose to wake him up, and Upper Moon 4, the one with the 4 emotion clones, shows up. Everything here basically plays out the same, but with some big differences. Muichiro still gets blasted away early in the fight since Tanjiro isn't as strong as in the original timeline, but this time, Tanjiro's body is way tougher from his training with Gyomei. Now Tanjiro's using the red blade and finally activates his Demon Slayer mark during this battle while holding off all 4 emotion clones to give Genya and Nezuko time to recover. While that's going on, Muichiro is fighting Upper Moon 5, Gyoko. Just like in the original story, Mitsuri shows up to help save the village from Gyoko's fish demons, rescues the chief, and joins in to help Tanjiro. Once the 4 emotion clones fuse into one powerful body, Mitsuri holds off the main clone, while Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya go after the real main body of Upper Moon 4. Muichiro defeats Gyoko by this point and finds Tanjiro's new sword. He throws it to Tanjiro for the final attack. Tanjiro catches it mid-fight, rushes in, and slices off Upper Moon 4's head, ending the battle. Nezuko still becomes immune to sunlight, just like in the original timeline. And with that, we move straight into the Hashira training arc. Now the Hashira training arc is obviously different, because after the Hashira meeting, and everyone learns about Tanjiro unlocking the Demon Slayer mark, Gyomei takes him personally under his wing. After he wakes up and heals from his injuries in the Swordsmith Village, Gyomei works with him directly to help him control the Demon Slayer mark, to make it activate whenever he wants, and spends extra time helping him master that skill, since Tanjiro is basically his successor. By this point, Tanjiro and Genya are best friends, because they've been training together by Gyomei's side since almost day 1. Tanjiro still trains with all the other Hashira, but he gets way more one-on-one training with Gyomei, who teaches him how to better manage the mark and strengthen his physical limits even more. Now we move to when the Ubuyashiki family head dies. Muzan kills him, and everyone gets pulled into the Infinity Castle, starting the Infinity Castle arc. Everything here plays out mostly the same. Giyu and Tanjiro fight Akaza. Doma fights Shinobu, Inosuke, and Kanao, and they face off Doma, Sanemi, Genya, Gyomei, and Muichiro versus Kokushibo, Zenitsu versus Kaigaku, and Yushiro, Mitsuri, and Obanai versus the Biwa woman, Nakime. So let's start with the Upper Moon 3 fight first. That fight goes almost exactly the same. Giyu and Tanjiro team up against Akaza. Giyu unlocks his Demon Slayer mark and holds Akaza off long enough for Tanjiro to enter the transparent world and the selfless state, finishing the fight by cutting Akaza down for good. Next, the Upper Moon 2 battle happens just like before. Shinobu sacrifices herself, Doma absorbs her, and the poison eventually kills him, while Kanao and Inosuke work together to finish him off. Then we get the Upper Moon 1 fight. Muichiro reaches Kokushibo first, gets his hand sliced off, and is pinned to the wall. Genya gets badly injured too, but Sanemi and Gyomei arrive to help. Muichiro rips himself free, holds Kokushibo down, and with Genya's demon powers helping, Sanemi and Gyomei finish Kokushibo off. Muichiro and Genya both die in this timeline, just like the original, but this time, it hits Tanjiro a lot harder, because Tanjiro has known Genya way longer in this version, training with him, fighting alongside him, and becoming best friends. Their deaths hit him even deeper emotionally. Next, we go to Zenitsu versus Kaigaku, which happens exactly the same. Zenitsu wins with his 7th form of thunder breathing. Finally, Yushiro, Mitsuri, and Obanai versus the Biwa woman also plays out the same. They help Yushiro take control of Nakime's blood demon art, letting him manipulate the Infinity Castle. Once Muzen realizes Yushiro has taken control, he kills Nakime himself, which causes the Infinity Castle to collapse. Yushiro manages to get everyone out safely, and that takes us straight into the final battle, the Sunrise Countdown Arc. And this time, it plays out a little differently. While Tanjiro is still getting treated by the medics, all the Hashira are out on the front lines fighting Muzan, and they're getting completely destroyed. Muzan unleashes one massive blast that wipes through the area, knocking out almost everyone. Gyomei loses a leg, and most of the Hashira are badly injured, completely worn down. Eventually, Tanjiro jumps back into the fight, using sun breathing, and remembering the flashbacks of Yoriichi showing him where all of Muzan's 7 hearts are. He uses that knowledge and his perfected sun breathing to push through the pain and fight at full strength. The only reason Tanjiro can even keep up with Muzan is because Muzan's body is being slowed down by Tamayo's poison. The poison makes him weaker and slower every second, and his hair even starts turning white as he struggles to keep his body together after hundreds of years of transformation and regeneration. Obanai and Tanjiro team up to fight Muzan, while the remaining Hashira, Sanemi, and Gyu join in to pin him down. After an intense final battle, Tanjiro finally lands the finishing blow, and Muzan dies just like in the original timeline. But even after Muzan's death, Tanjiro still ends up turning into Demon King Tanjiro, and Kanao has to stab him with the human serum. She manages to bring him back to normal, saving his life and ending the fight for good. In this version, the two surviving Hashira are Sanemi and Gyu, but both of them eventually die at age 25 because of the Demon Slayer mark. Nezuko becomes human again thanks to the serum, and Tanjiro's left arm is still messed up from the battle, but he and Kanao get married and live peacefully until he passes away at 25. Zenitsu and Nezuko also end up together, getting happily married and living long, peaceful lives after everything that happened. So yeah, this timeline is definitely a bit sadder, but still ends with hope. Make sure you guys go check out my second channel and click on this video right here for more Demon Slayer what ifs.